Hey there, it's been less than a month, but we are back with football every day, of course, and it is the Euro 2012 edition, coming to you direct as usual from the studios here at Menara Star in PJ. My name is Nelsen. Joining me today, Shaun and Zack, Yusof. Guys, good to see you again in less than a month, as I said.
I missed you, Nelsen.
Yeah,
I really did.
Likewise, mate. Well, I'll tell you what, the wait is
too,
finally over, and Euro is here at last, right? So I know we're all looking forward to this edition, particularly because we know, all the big boys are in it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So before we look at tonight's games, who would you say are favourites going to the tournament, Shaun? Your favourites as well as realistic favourites.
I think the favourites for the tournament have got to be Spain, partly because of the fact that they're world champions, and they actually have a very skillful and very powerful team. So far as my own views are concerned, I would like to think that Liverpool will, I beg your pardon, England rather, will really upset a few people at this tournament.
But Zack, would you agree with Shaun in general about Spain? Look, can they win 3 major titles in a row?
Well, Spain, you can't disregard Spain. They go in there as strong favourites. Just looking at the team that they assembled, even without David Villa,
Carles Puyol.
Puyol, of course, they're still really strong, stronger than most of the teams in the fold. But I tell you what, you can't disregard the Germans, right? Germans are always going to be there or
That's why you're wearing their kit, right?
I'm an England fan. It feels a bit weird to be wearing this, but to be honest, I like the Germans at the moment. They really they've got unity. They're a young team. They blended the old and the young. So Germans for me, right?
But what about the Dutch, Shaun? Quick word on them.
They looking good in the build up to the tournament. What I know of the Dutch team is that when things go a little wrong, they can implode. So I'm not sure if they will get a couple of bad results or something might happen on the team bus. But overall, I think they looking not a bad bet for the tournament. But I don't think they'll win the tournament.
You got France lurking in the shadows. A lot of people have disregarded France.
True.
But they've had a bit of a renaissance recently under Laurent Blanc. They come in off a 4-0 really exciting win over Estonia, I believe. So don't disregard France. On their day they can beat everyone.
I was going to come to that. Look, in terms of your dark horses, you're looking at France. I tell you what, Italy, England, Portugal. Shaun, give me a quick word on Portugal. Ronaldo aside, Nani has said that he and Ronaldo are the best pair of wingers in the world. But they haven't been doing too well in their past few games.
Yeah, I don't.
And they're in the group of death.
Yeah, I don't. For me, there's not much sway in what Nani says. The thing about Portugal, I don't think they're as strong as they used to be. So I don't give them much of a chance in this tournament. No.
They've had a terrible qualification as well.
What would your take be on Italy, Zack?
Well, as usual,
all the problems again, corruption,
terrible problems, and coming off a 3-0 defeat against Russia, and it didn't flatter Russia. I saw that game. Russia played great. So, but this has happened in the last World Cup, right? Italy went under a shroud of controversy and interfighting, and they always tend to do well in the face of adversity. So Italy are Italians.
You never know, right?
They will come good.
Shaun, yours and Zack's team and Brand Martin's as well. I'm okay with them too. England. Look, injuries to key players like Lampard and Cahill, Ferdinand's omission, and now the death of Jermaine Defoe's dad. So things really don't look to be going the way of the English at the moment, right, Shaun?
No, it certainly doesn't look like that. But we should take cognizance of the fact that when you have issues that upset some football teams, those teams in the change room actually come together. They bond much more strongly.
Yeah, it galvanizes.
Right. Absolutely. Right. So one wonders if that does happen in the England team. Will we see them play better than most people think they would? I think so.
And for a change, right? The first tournament in ages, England go in as unfancied outsiders, right? Instead of all the hype, the golden generation and Premier League, blah, blah, blah. This time round, no one gives them a chance, so it might work in England's favour.
That's what
Too many Liverpool players there.
True. But that's what everyone's been saying, right, Zack? Look, now the spotlight is off. People are saying they've got no hope, no chance, with Ferdinand out, Rooney suspended, and Defoe's problems. So do you think it's going to work for England, personally?
Well, it's definitely a change from the usual scenario where England bring lots of hype and lots of wags and all that kind of business. This time round, it seems to be low-key.
Yep.
apart from the odd controversy, but it's not England without the controversy, right?
I think there's one you touched on it just now, and I earlier on said Liverpool might do well in this tournament. The fact that Roy Hodgson, who was manager, as we know, for 6 months only at the club, I think the fact that he's taken, he's made that the core of his team, because there's 6 players from Liverpool in the team now, and it does look like a Liverpool team to me, actually, which is not a bad idea. So I think, and I know that some folks will quickly say that Hodgson hasn't been in the seat for a long time, so and his little bubble is going to burst. I'm not sure that will happen.
I mean, I was going to come to that, Zack. I mean, you think Roy's the man for England?
Well, so far, I mean, you can't really disregard his experience. I mean, out of all the candidates, he's the only one with international experience, Switzerland and all that. So I'm not too impressed with the whole handling of the Rio Ferdinand saga, to be honest, because if it were me, Rio is one of the first names that
you put into the team.
Regardless of like him having only played 1 game for England, you got to have a player of Rio's stature, if only for the experience. You're going to bring his understudy, Phil Jones, but you're not going to bring the man Phil Jones is learning from. That's ridiculous to me.
I beg to differ, because I think Hodgson has taken his standpoint. After all, he is the manager of the team, and he will be caged, or he will be torn apart, or he will bask in the glory, whatever happens to the team.
So if he put his head on the block with this one.
There's nothing wrong with doing that, because this is a tournament. It's actually, as I think the FA were quite right in saying that it's like an experimental tournament. They don't expect
in preparation for the 2014 World Cup.
It's a tournament, Euro 2012. You're not going to go there to experiment, right? You want to go there to win, and to win, you bring your best 11. Right?
Ferdinand is not the best central defender in England.
Martin Kelly, though, come on. And Phil Jones.
There's nothing wrong with blooding the young lads, because you already have seasoned campaigners like Terry and company. Johnson has played a long time.
Lescott. And Company's Belgian then.
Well,
okay, and Company, not Vincent Company,
Right, okay, right. Nice banter there, but hang on to your thoughts, as it is time for our customary break here on the show. We'll be right back with more chat and banter, as well as a look at tonight's opening game. So we'll see you real soon on Football Every Day. Welcome back to Football Every Day here in the second and final segment of the show, of course. Now that we've discussed the big picture, well, let's go into details where in tonight's opening game at midnight, co-host Poland get their campaign underway against former winners Greece. Not the most exciting of opening games to begin with, but we know that home crowd is almost always a big deciding factor in how teams tend to perform at big tournaments. So you think this will also spur Poland to a possible win over Greece, Shaun?
I would like to think Poland will win this one. I would maybe go as far as saying maybe they would win it by 2-0. I think being the first game of the tournament, and of course, like you say, they're playing at home, I think you certainly win psychologically. You certainly win part of the game in that. So I reckon Poland.
Right. With Arsenal's Wojciech Szczesny in goal, and Borussia Dortmund trio, Robert Lewandowski, Jakub Blaszczykowski, and Lucas Piszczek all in the team, Zack. You'd say they should be capable of springing a surprise in the tournament on the whole as well.
Yeah, definitely. Lewandowski, he comes in the tournament having had a great season in the Bundesliga. I just read recently Miroslav Klose, Germany's striker, been bigging this guy up, saying he's the real deal, one to watch for this tournament. So if anyone knows about scoring goals in a big tournament, it's Klose, right? So I think Poland cannot be disregarded. But, Greece, right? Everyone's forgetting about Greece, sure. But these guys topped their group over Croatia. They've had a fuss-free qualification campaign. Everyone knows the trouble Greece as a country has been beset by. So I think they may just focus on sport. It'll take away from their problems elsewhere.
But what about the change in coach? From Otto Rehagel, who has been at the helm for over
they've
many
got
years
a
now.
Portuguese.
Now it's a Portuguese coach. You think that would be a factor?
Well, you know, I was just reading in The Guardian and saying, ironic, they've got a Portuguese coach because, you know, Greece beat Portugal to win the Euros a few years back. So if anyone knows about the strength of the underdog, is this guy.
Why not a Portuguese, right?
Yeah.
I mean, but you were saying before the show started, Zack, I mean, that Greece kind of play in a 8-2-1 formation. I mean, you know, so I mean, is that going to happen? With
Look, I've got a very interesting stat here which you will like, Shaun.
Do share.
Okay, in the qualifiers, they only conceded 5 goals over the stretch of 10 games.
Wow.
That's amazing. They built their strength on the defense, so they're not going to change.
Yeah, they could well turn out to be quite a hard team to beat. But so far as pulling off the surprise that they did
back in 2004,
2004,
probably not gonna happen again,
I doubt that. But yeah, I think they might just well pick up a few decent results.
Especially if they can get a result from this opening game against the co-hosts.
I mean, really, organization is key with the Greeks. So in this opening game, you can expect a bit of cat and mouse. You know, I think the Poles, they've got all the expectation on their shoulders. You know what I mean? The crowd. The onus is upon them, not the Greeks. So you can expect the Greeks to just happily park that bus, try and hit them on the count.
So before we get into the second match, Zack, who would you call for this one?
I got a call for the team with the strikers, so Poland 1-0.
Poland? All right. Okay, well, following that one, the second Group A match pits Russia against the Czech Republic. I mean, led by Tomáš Rosický and the familiar Milan Baros. How do you see the Czechs performing in against Russia and over the tournament as a whole, Shaun?
I think the tournament as a whole, I don't think they will.
I mean, can they replicate, you know, what they did in Euro 96?
I don't think they'll do very well. I just think that they're not good enough. The teams that we have at this tournament and the players that they have in the teams, I think the European Championships this year are a lot stronger than they have been for quite a while. Maybe we might have to look back to 1984 or 88 when Holland and France really were powerhouses. I'm not saying that Spain are not as strong as then, but when you look at Russia and Croatia and
Ireland,
you know, then you got to ask yourself, are these teams like really good? I have to say, if I'm talking honestly, I have to say no. So in the long run of the tournament, are they going to do well? I'll have to say no again. And like I say, I don't want to sound pessimistic, particularly because we just started the tournament.
Right. I mean, Zack, the Russians are led by Dutchman Dick Advocaat and with Andrei Arshavin, Roman Pavlyuchenko, and Roman Shirokov. I tell you what, especially Arshavin and Pavlyuchenko, who we know are enjoying a new lease of life, following moves away from Arsenal and Spurs respectively, right? This should be a close affair, right?
Well, it looks close on paper, but I really do think the Czechs, like Shaun said, this is not the vintage Czech of old. They've had problems. I see that Milan Baros is struggling to make the game, and he's their main striker. And if your main striker is Milan Baros, I think you got a bit of problems there, But this is a really interesting guy. They've got this guy Theodor Selesi. He's the first back player to represent the Czechs. So I'm intrigued to see the kind of treatment he's going to get from the very cosmopolitan home crowd, I should say. That's putting it very diplomatically.
Before we close up, Zack, what result do you see coming up from this one?
The
can
Russia
replicate the Euro 2008 form? What they did back in 2008?
Confidence is high in the Russian camp after they are 3-0 over Italy. So it's Russia for me this one.
Russia to win this one then. All right. Well, thanks a lot for your thoughts, guys. Pleasure as usual. Tell you what, before we bid you goodbye, do take note that as customary for every World Cup and Euro, we here at the Star produce this special street edition that you can, of course, pick up for free on a daily basis starting today. Actually, today's the preview, and from tomorrow onwards, you can get everything you need to know about the Euros in Ukraine and Poland. And if you want to drop us a line, do send it to us at football@thestar.com.my as well. That about wraps up this week's, today's edition of Football Everyday. So we'll see you real soon. Do enjoy the Euro 2012, and it's ciao.